Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players, uncover their stories, and discover what makes them tick. If you love guitar, music, and the backstory of people's lives, stick around. You're in the right place. If you're a business owner and you want to increase your cash flow, or if you're a label or artist and you want to promote new music, then listen up. For information about advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, including information on geographically targeted ads, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. The Be Fulfilled Journal helps you be more honest with yourself and with others and be more open to handling things you've avoided dealing with for years. It's a 12-week online and journal program that helps you identify and eliminate things you do that are causing you stress and live in more gratitude and joy. It was actually developed by a long-term friend of mine who got sober in 2008, and he's put together a great deal just for my listeners. You get the 300-page hardcover journal and access to the 12-week video program online, plus free shipping, plus membership in a private Facebook support group with others going through the program, plus a 5-day mini course showing you how to let go of stuff that's draining your energy, plus a 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. To start your journey and get all the bonuses, go to BeFulfilledJournal.com/ELG. That's BeFulfilledJournal.com/ELG. Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. We are with our friend Oz Noy, who's a friend of the show, a friend of mine who was on the show last year this time. Oz is a very successful and very well-known jazz, funk, blues, and fusion player. He lives in New York City, originally from Israel. As I said, I interviewed him this time last year on the show. He recently released his 10th solo album called Booga Looga Loo, and I wanted to talk with him about it today. It's a really good record. Playing with Oz on the record in the rhythm section is Steve Ferrone, Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta, Will Lee, John Patitucci, James Genus, Brian Charette, and Jerry Z. And he's got some special guests on there, and drummer Kevin Hayes and Seamus Blake as special guests. I did that much better. This is like my second or third time I've done this, so I'm glad. I'm glad the marbles are out of my mouth.
You got it all right.
I know, man.
And Drummond.
Drummond. Okay, I said drummer. Sorry, Ann.
Yeah.
All right, I almost got it all right. So you've got a pretty big catalog at this point, and I give you credit for even making records. What was your motivation to still put records out?
I still have music to present. I still have ideas for records. Like when I make records, I have concept behind them, you know what I mean? So in the beginning, when I was making records, I had a kind of a general concept of my band, which was kind of a mix of, let's say, groove music mixed with jazz vocabulary, So I was doing all this, like, let's say, R&B and funk and rock grooves, and I was playing my jazz stuff on it. It's a very kind of naked way of explaining what I do, you know what I mean?
But it's very accurate, though.
Yeah. And then I got into the blues stuff. I was always into the blues stuff, but I wanted to do a blues record that will be a little more modern, you say. So I had this whole twisted blues concept. So I did volume 1 and volume 2, and it was about extending the blues harmonically and rhythmically and stuff like that. So, and then after that, I did the Who Gives a Funk record. It was like more an R&B/soul thing. And this one is a Boogaloo record. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because as long as I have once I have a concept for a record, then I can write. I start writing. It kind of inspires me because I start to listen to those kind of records, and it inspires me to kind of write in that direction. And also because I'm in New York, I play with different people. We do live gigs. So this whole Boogaloo thing has been around for a while. I've done a lot of organ trios. So when you play with organ players, a lot of their vocabulary, like their song vocabulary, is Boogaloo tunes. So they got me into it. And then I started to kind of write a little bit in that direction, and it just kind of came as, that's basically what inspires me. It's like to get a concept, and then as long as I have a concept and I write, then I can make records.
That's pretty cool.
That's done,
so the concept is like the goal, the governor of that particular. Yeah, that's really cool, man. I like that. So you get a concept and then you write to the it's probably a lot less stressful doing that than just writing willy-nilly as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
When I started making records, I was just writing. I just had an idea that I wasn't writing anything that was going to be swing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was going to be straight ahead. It will be just, I was thinking about different grooves, and I would write over different grooves and tempos. That's kind of, but then this this new record, it's not exactly like the whole record is Boogaloo songs. It's just that it's in that kind of style, in the 70s, I did all that kind of, they start to mix jazz and groove music, and, so that's kind of, so once I have an idea like that, it really helps the writing instead of just sitting at home and writing all this, whatever comes up kind of, you know what I mean?
Who were you listening to when you put this record together?
Some Johnny Smith, Smith. What's the organ player? Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith, yeah.
Some, Lou Donaldson has some. They were like the kind of pioneers. Grant Green.
Yeah.
I listened to a bunch of Freddie, like 70s, like CTI Freddie Hubbard records, and those. It's not exactly that they play Boogaloo, but they start to use electric bass. George Benson in some of those records, and it's like a little more getting towards like electrified jazz. You know what I mean? It's like the big. So that's kind of what I was listening to, and again, it's a lot of it has to do with I want to write certain tunes in certain grooves, and also I wrote certain songs. I wrote a couple of tunes that are based off, like, I wrote like one or two songs that are based off Joe Henderson tunes, and Joe Henderson's like late 60s jazz kind of stuff. So this is kind of what interests me. I don't know. That's how I get inspired, I guess.
That's cool, man. Really good. It's always interesting to find out, like, because writing is difficult.
It's very difficult.
And writing, X number of songs that will fit together is even more difficult.
Exactly.
So I'm always interested in that.
Actually, the hardest thing about writing is to write more than one or two or three records, because you start writing and you go like, this sounds familiar. And then you realize that you wrote it already in another song,
Yeah. That's how my guitar playing is.
Mine too.
No, I don't think so, man. Where did you record this? Was this in like did you all go in the studio together, or is it like separate tracks? Or
this is a kind of interesting situation. Well, I never overdub. It's always it's a jazz record, so maybe it doesn't sound exactly like jazz, but we record it as if it's jazz. So we're all in the room together. There are some overdubs sometimes, but the overdubs are usually maybe a special guest that couldn't make the session.
Okay.
And but everything you hear is live. It's just like we're playing together, we're interacting, the whole thing. It was recorded at Sweetwater. Sweetwater
in Indiana.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Like, were you all happen to be up there or something? Or
no, they kind of. I had this relationship with them, and they offered to let me use the studio for this record.
That's cool, man.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's an amazing facility over there. It's kind of freaky. Very highly recommended going and seeing.
They should have a good studio. They're the largest music retailer in the country, so they should. I would imagine be good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
After making so many records, what are some of the more important things that you've learned about recording so that you avoid making mistakes in the studio?
It's kind of a good question. I think that the first thing that I always felt about making my own records was that I'm not into going in and recording first time. Like, I'm not into getting a bunch of people that never played together and going to the studio. So I figured that one out before I started making records. So when I make records, I play the music a while before, and let's say 80 to 90% of the people that played on those records, played with me at least for a while this music, or if not, then I play with them and we did 1 or 2 gigs or rehearsals. Like that, it's never cold. Like you just go in and record. Now, this is not new. I've done it since the beginning, just because I think some of it is just my insecurity that it's just not gonna sound good. And even when you go into the studio and you do a bunch of takes with guys that play the music, it still takes a couple of takes to get the good one. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's kind of like that. So that's the main thing for me. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, but unfortunately, I don't have big budgets to make records. So when I make records, I have to go and cut them pretty much in, I don't know, 2-3 days, and then I do the rest after. So the music has to be really together. My plan have to be really together, and the sounds, I don't have tons of times to get sounds. You know what I mean? Because you have to go and record. So I just do my best to just kind of try to get, like, I'm trying to get everything I have as tight as possible, meaning my sound, my overdub, whatever I need to do, like little things. I try to be as organized as possible. Over all these years, I've been using the same method. I haven't figured out anywhere else to actually record, just because of limitations, really. You know what I mean? So it's just I've been recording pretty much the same way since the beginning. You know.
Do you do all the mixing, or do you have like an engineer?
No, I have a mixer that does mixes for me.
But it's not in the studio. You bring all this stuff back to the city, and then
what happens is the way I record, and again, all of that happened because of limitations of budgets. So because I have to record 10 songs in like 2 or 3 days, which is not a lot, because it's not, when you do a jazz record, just like a swinging kind of record, you can let things kind of be loose, you know. But when you do this kind of records, things have to be a lot more tighter. There's no much place to kind of let things go, you know. So you have to kind of get it right. So I get it as right as I can, and then I take it home, and I'll listen to the stuff, I'll edit it, I'll tighten it up. If I have to overdub, I never overdub guitars, but if I have to overdub a little overdub of some sort, like little something to enhance the song, or a soloist that, you know, feature soloist, then I'll do that. And then that takes a while, actually. That takes a couple of months to do. And then once that's done, then I give it to a mixer.
That's a lot of work you put involved there.
Yeah, it takes a while to do, you know. It really takes a long time.
I took a real estate class once about investing, and I'll never forget something the guy said, and I think it's relevant here. He said, if you can, try not to buy properties when you have a lot of money. He said, you're always going to make a better deal when you're hurting a little bit, when things are tight.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in a way, it's kind of a good thing, because it forces you to work more efficient.
Yeah.
You know,
right. It's just, to me, it's a little frustrating, because I always feel like if I wouldn't have to stress out about time, then maybe I'll get better guitar tones. Maybe I'll get better takes. But then at the end of the day, you listen to the record, you go, this is as good as it could be for the time. And it's fine. You know, it presents that music at that particular time, you know? Yeah,
I think so. Are you, when you go in there, you're a band leader of these guys, right? And these guys are all heavyweights.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself like you need shit done the way you want to, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you have no problem telling people that, like if they're off on something or they're missing something.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's say that 95% of the time there's no issues. Like,
of course.
You know what I mean? Sometimes if I want something to be played again, which I often do, some people sometimes can get a little, uptight about it, but we still do it, you know what I mean? And 95% of the time, I'm right.
Well, you're right, because it's your record.
Yeah, no, but sometimes you kind of go, you know, when I do my records, when you do recordings, you kind of, you start, you do a bunch of takes, and then you kind of go over the hump and it starts to go down. So I try, like in terms of the performance, so I try to, once I feel like we hit the peak, I stop.
Yeah.
But sometimes for me to hit the peak is not what for the drummer or for the bass player. So it's like, it's a weird kind of how do you call it? Like a balance that you have to keep, Yeah. And plus, everybody that records with me knows the deal. I tell them, no, because there's different ways of making records, and I have no interest in making records when you cut the drums and then the bass and then the guitar. Like, I don't do it like that. My music is not like that. So to me, it's just like, this is how we do it. We record, we get a bunch of, not one good take, but a few good takes, and then I'll deal with it later. And that's what we do,
Yeah. That's a lot of work, man, to go back all over through that stuff. Yeah.
It's an exhausting day.
Oh, yeah. All these guys are good cats. How do you know most of these guys?
Ferrone,
Weckl, Vinnie, Willie, Patitucci.
Weckl I've been touring with for like 10 years, so I have history with Weckl. Vinnie played on my second album, so I know Vinnie actually longer than I know Weckl or Ferrone. And Vinnie is like such an, he's an amazing dude and he's an amazing drummer. It's just like, he played on 2 of my other records. It's just so hard to get him. It's like kind of like trying to catch a fish in water with your hands. But I get lucky sometimes and I'm able to get him. So when I can, I get him. Ferrone, I play with, has been a good friend of mine for a while. I just never had the opportunity to use him on the record. So now I was able to make it happen. I play with Will since like 2002. Like, we've done like probably 1,000 gigs by now.
Oh, sessions or gigs?
Everything, sessions, live gigs. We've done like hundreds and hundreds of gigs.
Oh, I didn't know that. In the city mostly?
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's cool.
Gina's, James, it's the same thing. I've known James. Actually, I played with James before Will, so it's the same kind of thing because we're all in New York.
Yeah.
Patitucci, I started to play with about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it's kind of, with John, it's like we've done a bunch of stuff, then we didn't, then, suddenly we did it again. It's kind of like in and out, So that's the rhythm section. That's kind of the base of it. And then in terms of the other guys, Jerry Z is an organ player, has been playing with me on and off for a gazillion years. Brian Charette, same thing. The other guests like Ann Drummond and Seamus Blake and who's the other guy?
Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, and Kevin. It's just guys that I played with in town,
Gotcha. Very cool.
So, yeah.
I want to ask you a couple questions on a couple of songs. You had a great, by far my favorite song, and there was something called A Soul Thing. And it reminded me of like the old Isaac Hayes, Curtis Mayfield jam.
Yeah.
Really great soul vibe. And your solo on the outro, just as you said, blues with some jazzy licks mixed in there, was great. I mean, I really enjoyed that song. is there any backstory to that song?
Not really. Sorry. No, you know what? Actually, you know what it is? I'm thinking about it now. When I moved to New York, actually, a couple of those songs on the records, when I moved to New York, I wanted to be noticed, blah, blah, blah. So I started to write stuff in different, I was just writing tunes, like for whatever. I didn't know what. And a friend of mine was playing with Incognito. He was a trombone player. And one day he called me and goes like, hey, they're looking for a guitar player to play a solo on the record. So if you give me a tape, I'll pass it on to Bluey. That's like the producer, the head of the band. So what I did is I wrote and put a couple of tunes together. And I remember going to Smalls, taking an organ trio to Smalls and recording into a DAT machine or something, you know what I mean?
Oh.
It just was planned. And I had like about 6 or 8 tunes that I wrote that are really simple tunes. And actually one of those tunes was that tune, the soul thing,
That's cool.
And then
man.
weeks later, I was looking for music to play, and I listened to it. I was like, wow, that's actually got potential,
Very good track, man.
Yeah. Actually, Chocolate Souffle, that's on the record, that song, I didn't write for that recording, but I wrote the idea of the song when I moved to New York, which was like 23 years ago, 22 and a half years ago.
Wow. Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Then you had another track in there called Bemsha Swing, which is an old Thelonious Monk song from 1954 off his Trio record. What
Yes.
made you? Your cover is totally different than the song, to be honest with you, or it sounded different. What I loved it. What made you cover that song?
Well, I covered a lot of Monk tunes. I'm a big Thelonious Monk fan, and the way Monk writes, there's two things. One, it can fit guitar really well, at least for my playing. There's something about his writing that just can sit on an instrument really well. And then the other thing is you can take his ideas, his melodies, or his tunes, and like transcend them in different styles, and it somehow always ends up working. It's really weird. He's like one of the only composers that you can do it with.
Huh.
So with this tune, I just liked the tune, and I was kind of thinking about Bitches Brew, really. You know what I mean? Like doing kind of a Bitches Brew kind of vibe, and it worked great.
So I actually like your version better than the Monk version. I liked it a lot. It was great, man. On this, it sounds like you primarily playing your Strat.
No, I play my Strat on a bunch of tunes. I play one or two songs, one or two songs on the tail, and the rest is a Les Paul.
Oh, really? Okay. I sound like the Strat on there.
Bamsha Swing is a Les Paul.
Yeah, but what was Soul Thing? That was a Strat, right?
Soul Thing is a Strat.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. Yeah, that sounded great, man. And you always got that red or like a Fiesta Red Strat that you play, right?
Not always, but yeah, on that record I recorded.
Yeah, I like that.
Like my better one.
And man, Booga Looga Loo, it's available everywhere. People can get it everywhere.
Sure.
What Amazon, anywhere it streams.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Streaming, you have to buy the fucker.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. That's right. I went to.
No, streaming. It's not going to be on streaming for a while, like because it messes things up so badly. So you know what I mean? It's like
no, dude,
eventually my catalog goes on streaming, but it's not on streaming now. So
man, can't give away the cow and get the milk for free, man. I agree with you.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up, touring wise, or?
I just finished. The record came out maybe a month and a half ago. I just finished a month tour in the U.S. I have a couple other things like that's kind of not exactly my project that I'm doing, and then in October I've got a tour in Europe with my band. Then in November I got kind of like the second half of my U.S. tour that we finished. We do another 2 weeks in the U.S.
You coming down here? Where are you coming? Man? Any chance you coming?
I don't know yet. I hope. I don't know yet though. And then December probably Asia, and that's gonna be it for the year, really.
You know what? I have told. There's one thing that you said on our interview last year that really stuck, and I've mentioned it to several people. And you said, the music business is very hard. And I said, you mean like, you said travel is hard. I said, you mean like lugging all your shit? You said, no, just sitting on a goddamn plane, and everybody, I have referenced that because other people have said similar things. And I remember that very distinctly.
Yeah. Or sitting on a bus, same thing,
Yeah. It's not easy, man. Well, listen, brother, I really appreciate it. I want everybody to check out the new record by Oz Noy. It's Booga Looga Loo. Great record. Again, if you want to just check out a couple of songs, check out A Soul Thang, Thang, and Bemsha Swing. A lot more good tunes on there. Those are two of my favorites. And that's it, man. Any final words of wisdom or?
Not really. I don't have any.
Oz, man, a few words today. Hey, and check out Oz will be touring the U.S. in November. If you are in Europe, he'll be there in October. And if you're in Asia, where in Asia are you going?
Probably. I know right now I don't have dates exactly. Normally it's Japan, maybe a couple of other places, but it's a little too, I don't know yet.
Yeah. Are you going? A lot of people are doing China lately.
I've done China a couple of times when I was in China last year. Yeah, it's a big country,
Oh, it's huge. I got to ask you like a real stupid question, man. What is the Chinese food like in China? Is it anything like Chinese food here?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, but if you go to the special places, then it might be a little different. But I don't know. I try to not experiment when I'm there.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man.
But I did have some really great Peking duck when I was in there, and some other, like some incredible dumplings. Oh my God. Oh,
that's cool, man. There's a new China, not new, it's place. When the last time I was in the city about a month ago, and I go to this place now on 9th Avenue and like 23rd Street. It's something Szechuan. You ever been there? It's really good food, man. And
I'm sure.
I love, man, there's nothing like Chinese food in New York City, you know?
Yeah, of course.
All right, brother. I wish you good luck with the record. Everybody, check out Oz on the road if you're in the area where he is. It's Oz Noy, OZNOY. It's about the simplest name. You can't remember that. I really feel sorry for you. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this interview, please share it with a friend on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to Oz Noy for spending time with us. I appreciate it. Check out his new record. Again, it's called Booga Looga Loo. And make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com. Sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.